Standing in the wilderness, looking up at the night sky, almost every point of light you see belongs to our own Milky Way. Beyond that thin veil of our atmosphere lies a cold, silent, and infinitely extending void. Throughout evolution, human senses were wired to perceive microseconds, centimeters, and kilograms. This extremely limited precision means that when we face the true scale of the universe, we often experience a literal sense of physical vertigo. But about 1 billion light-years away, in the direction of the constellation Virgo, sits a gargantuan object that challenges the very limits of human cognition. It isn't just a star, and it isn't a simple collection of galaxies. It is a lonely, heavy monster formed by the consumption of countless others, the ruler of the Abell 2029 galaxy cluster, IC 1101. To put this into perspective, imagine you are sitting on a spacecraft traveling at the speed of light. To cross the Earth, it would take you just 0.04 seconds, faster than a blink. To reach the Moon, 1.3 seconds. To cross our solar system might take a few hours. But to cross our home, the Milky Way, you would need 100,000 years. 100,000 years covers almost the entire history of modern humans, from leaving Africa to building civilizations and launching rockets. The Milky Way, with its beautiful spiral structure, holds between 200 billion and 400 billion stars. We used to think this was the pinnacle of grandness, until we found IC 1101. Its diameter reaches a staggering 6 million light-years. To cross this single galaxy at light speed, you would have to start your journey at the exact moment our human ancestors first learned to walk upright, and keep flying until today. To understand this titan, we have to understand the definition of loneliness on a cosmic scale. We usually think of galaxies as islands in the universe, each birthing stars and planets. But IC 1101 isn't a normal island, it's more like a massive harbor built from the wreckage of 1,000 shipwrecks. It holds over 100 trillion stars, and the truth behind that number is cold and violent. For billions of years, it has been the absolute tyrant of its cluster, using its terrifying gravity to drag in every smaller galaxy nearby. Young spiral galaxies with delicate arms, galaxies that were busy birthing new stars, are ruthlessly torn apart the moment they enter its gravitational field. Their nebulae are stripped away, their stellar orbits are warped, and eventually, these galaxies lose their names, becoming just another part of this colossal body. This leads to a core idea: the price of scale is the death of diversity. In astronomy, IC 1101 is classified as a supergiant elliptical galaxy. Through a telescope, it doesn't have the brilliant blue spiral arms of the Milky Way. Instead, it glows with a dead, yellowish hue. This color hides a tragic fact: this galaxy is old. The cold gas clouds capable of nurturing new life were heated and exhausted during billions of years of mergers and collisions. Today, it births almost no new stars. If you stood on a planet deep within it, your night sky would be a dull, dark red, filled with ancient, dim red dwarfs. It is a magnificent cosmic retirement home, the final resting place for trillions of elderly stars. This scale isn't just visually shocking, it's physically bizarre. Usually, larger objects mean higher disorder, yet IC 1101 maintains a haunting sense of order. Deep in its core, where the density is incredibly high, hides a supermassive black hole with the mass of 40 billion to 100 billion suns. This black hole isn't just where matter ends, it's the heart of the galaxy. By shooting out high-energy particle jets that span tens of thousands of light-years, it stirs the surrounding gas, keeping it too hot to collapse into new stars. It's a cold feedback loop. The black hole protects its own massive shell by suffocating any hope for new birth. This is feedback quenching, a cosmic self-regulation that ensures no galaxy stays active forever. When we study the stars of IC 1101, we are performing cosmic archaeology. On the outskirts, stars are scattered messily, with different chemical signatures and ages. This is the evidence of its predator status, stars stolen from devoured galaxies, like mismatched bricks in a massive wall. But in the center, the stars are uniform, ancient, metal-poor bodies formed near the beginning of time. This means the core of this galaxy formed 10 billion years ago, and everything since then has just been a multi-billion-year process of reinforcing the shell. If we look past the data, there is a profound sense of desolation. In our Milky Way, the average distance between stars is about 4 light-years, giving room for civilizations to rise. But in the bloated, thin edges of IC 1101, stars are pulled incredibly far apart, while in its dense core, they are packed into a chaotic firestorm. In such an environment, planetary systems can rarely stay stable. Constant gravitational tugs from collisions would hurl habitable planets into the deep void or push them into their suns. Despite having the most stars in the universe, this is likely a dead zone. It is a giant shell without a pulse. This tragedy extends to its final fate. As dark energy continues to push the universe apart, galaxy clusters will drift further away from each other. Eventually, IC 1101 will devour every remaining neighbor in its cluster, becoming a single, dark red orb burning slowly in an isolated pocket of space. Because the universe will be expanding faster than light, any observer inside IC 1101 will see nothing else. Their entire universe will be one single island, surrounded by an eternal, uncrossable darkness. This, cosmic isolationism, is the destiny of every supergiant galaxy that we have to ask ourselves. Is our obsession with size just a glitch in our evolutionary psychology? On Earth, big means strong. But in space, when a structure grows past a certain point, it inevitably slips into thermodynamic silence. The scale of IC 1101 is actually a symptom of its exhaustion. It is a monument to gravity winning the war against entropy. Every merger adds mass but dilutes creativity. Compared to a small, active spiral galaxy that is constantly exploding with supernovae and forming new worlds, IC 1101 is a relic. When we talk about IC 1101, we are talking about the scale of time. A human life is maybe 30,000 days. A civilization's history is a few thousand years. But for a galaxy like this, a single breath, one orbit of a star around its center, can take hundreds of millions of years. This gap in time makes our fears or admiration seem tiny. But that is the beauty of science. We use a 3-pound brain and a few stray photons of light to reconstruct a story spanning 10 billion years and 6 million light-years. We give meaning to that cold, lonely giant that if we look at the stellar streams stripped away by IC 1101, we see the ghosts of galaxies past. These stars drift like fireflies in the dark, belonging to no cluster, like shells washed up on a beach after a storm. By tracking them, astronomers act as forensic scientists at a crime scene. We can see how a spiral galaxy was torn apart 3 billion years ago. This kind of plunder happens every moment in the universe, and IC 1101 is the ultimate victor of this long hunt, but this victory has a price. Every merger makes IC 1101 more bloated and diffuse, creating that fuzzy, cloud-like edge we see today. It teaches us a deep lesson: an increase in energy or mass doesn't always mean an increase in order. Inside this behemoth, entropy is at its peak. Every atom has been crashed and reorganized so many times that the original order is gone, replaced by a disorganized cloud of stars governed by heat. There is no environment here for life to evolve, only a macro-level balance, the final compromise of matter under the shackles of gravity. To see this truth, humans have used our greatest tech. We don't just use light, we use gravitational lensing. When light from even more distant galaxies passes through the Abell 2029 cluster, the mass of IC 1101 warps space like a thick lens, stretching background images into weird arcs. By calculating this distortion, we found that dark matter makes up over 95% of the mass here. The 100 trillion stars we see are just the tip of the iceberg. In the dark, an invisible force rules a domain tens of millions of light-years wide. The galaxy is just a ripple in a dark matter ocean, and IC 1101 is the whirlpool where the deepest currents meet. Think about the civilization versus scale argument again. In a galaxy with 100 trillion stars, even if the odds of life are 1 in a billion, IC 1101 should be crawling with intelligence. But science gives us a cold answer. Because it lacks metals, the heavy elements like carbon, oxygen, and iron forged in supernovae, it's hard for IC 1101 to form Earth-like planets. It's too old, it used up its resources when the universe was young. Its planets are likely barren gas giants or dead rocks. Prosperity doesn't depend on how much stuff you have, but on whether energy and matter are exchanged in the right way at the right time. The Milky Way is special not because it's big, but because it's just right. That just right feeling is fragile. In the ultimate future, IC 1101 is a preview of the end. As the heat death of the universe approaches, IC 1101 will be one of the last lights to go out. Long after every spiral galaxy has dissolved and every blue giant has burned out, this dark red beast will still be there, drifting. Its red dwarfs live for trillions of years. They will witness the final silence of the cosmos. Looking back at IC 1101 from our point in time, we shouldn't feel fear. We should feel humility. The meaning of human existence might just be this moment of observation. We used a few thousand years of civilization to deconstruct a 10-billion-year-old titan. We understood the logic of the massive from the perspective of the tiny. This is an act of rebellion against the cold rules of the universe. IC 1101 can swallow 10,000 galaxies, but it cannot understand why it exists. We, made of the very star stuff it tears apart, can give it a name and a story. IC 1101 isn't a predator, it's a silent cosmic recorder. It carves the fingerprints of dead galaxies into its stellar orbits. When we look at it, we aren't just seeing a galaxy, we are seeing an epic of gravity, time, and evolution. It reminds us that in the infinite void, matter once gathered with such grandeur, and light once shone with such defiance, that light will eventually fade. Even the black hole at its center will slowly evaporate via Hawking radiation. In the impossibly distant future, every star will cool into a black dwarf, every atom will dissipate, and the black hole will vanish into a whisper of light. The universe will return to its original silence, as if none of this ever happened, but so what? If the end is written, then every beam of light, every measurement of scale, and every thought trying to understand the grandness has eternal value. From our corner of the Milky Way, we have heard the elegy of the Galaxy King. This is the greatest victory of mind over matter. Big doesn't mean everything. Existence itself is the miracle. IC 1101 proves the extreme limits of physics, while we prove the infinite potential of life to understand it. When this video ends and you return to your daily life, remember that giant a billion light years away. Remember its shivering loneliness and its exhausted grandeur. You'll realize that our small-scale busywork, our love, our hate, and our creations, is just as vital a part of the cosmic story. Every atom, whether in a dying star in IC 1101 or in the dust on your fingertip, follows the same laws and came from the same spark. In this moment, we resonate with the largest thing in the universe. Keep your awe for the grand, but keep your love for the tiny. Because in an infinite universe, every soul trying to understand the stars is a star itself.